Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, today I'm going to be talking about my first Super Nintendo. Now, yes, this bad boy. Oh, this is where it all started. I used to love this machine. Still do. Absolutely love this. Now, my first Super Nintendo. Now, I think everybody when it first came out, I remember seeing it in magazines and reading about it, and it becoming some of the best graphics you've ever seen. It was the next generation. I've got the Mega Drive, but the Super Nintendo was coming up with arcade quality graphics. Well, it looked like it back then. And so I, set out to get one. So on the Mega Drive, yeah, I know. And I ended up affording a Super Nintendo. So my first one I ever got was the Super Nintendo with a Super Mario World. Now, how good was this game? This was massive. I remember seeing the graphics in the magazine, and absolutely fantastic. It looked brilliant. I've never played Mario before, but I remember reading it in a magazine, getting like 96%, 96 levels to play on, and a huge replayability. And I absolutely love this game, and I still love it to this day. Loads to do, loads of hidden levels, and I played it to death. Absolutely so many times. Well, I couldn't afford to get another Super Nintendo, and so I ended up just playing this for a long time. Then, unfortunately, I couldn't afford to get any more games, so I did end up selling it after about 6 months. Yeah, I know, I was stupid. And I remember going home one day, leaving college, and a friend said to me, "Have you seen the latest game that's come out for the Super Nintendo?" And it was Street Fighter 2. And I was like, "Oh no," but I was a massive fan. I played in the arcade and I really wanted to play it, and I absolutely, crying to get one. So the next day, I decided to go into town with my dad. He took me in. Yes, that's how long ago it was. My dad took me into town, my local town, and we decided to get the boxed version of Street Fighter 2. For the Super Nintendo. It came with the Super Nintendo, one joypad, and Street Fighter 2. Now, it was a bit annoyed because it was the unboxed version, but I remember taking this home and plugging it in to a colour TV at the time, because I only had a black and white portable. I borrowed my parents' colour TV, plugged it in, and watched it for the first time. And I remember Ryu and Zangief fighting in the demo, and I could not believe how good this was. This was absolutely awesome. I was in my aisles and I absolutely adored this game. It was brilliant. It was the arcade brought to my home. And I remember that night as well, I decided to pack my Super Nintendo away and leave it for the night. And I knew I was going to get up early the next morning and start playing it. And I woke up in the middle of the night and heard Street Fighter 2 noises going off. And lo and behold, my brother had come in and decided to get my Super Nintendo and play it in his room with my other brother as well. And they were playing on my machine. Yeah, I remember this. I couldn't believe it. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. They were playing on Street Fighter 2. This was my machine. They all had their machines. I got my Super Nintendo. They were playing it. Yeah, I was like, well, you know what? At least they played a decent game. And I remember going back to bed, waking up the next morning, getting up early and playing it. Now, I did find this ridiculously hard to play. But I practiced with all the characters, and now I absolutely love it. But I was hooked straight away. It did bring back so many memories, and love seeing it in the arcade, played it lots, and getting my own version. This is, and still is to this day, an absolutely quality game. Tiger! 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 Uppercut! Tiger! Uppercut! Now this is where things get interesting, because I ended up selling this one as well. I couldn't afford the games. The games were looking at about £60. And then a friend said to me about a year or two later, "Look, I've got a Super Nintendo with 7 games. Do you want to borrow it? See if you want to buy it off me." So I thought, yeah, okay, no worries. So he lent me these 7 games with the Super Nintendo. Now the 7 games were as follow. The first one he lent me was Super Tennis. No, I wasn't really too fussed about, say, playing Super Tennis. It didn't appeal to me much, but I did have a little blast on it, and I did enjoy it. It was not bad, but I think this goes better if it was a 2-player game.
Sport.
The next game I decided to play, now I decided to play this one because it was Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Now, I knew about this one because you can play all your bosses in this one: Sagat, Vega, Bison, and Balrog. And I blasted it. I blasted Street Fighter 2 to death. I played it so many times, but I decided to have a quick blast on this one. And Sagat was one of my favourites, but it was nice to play Bison as well. Bison was, it was hard to get to handle, but once you handled his moves, he turned out to be a pretty good fighter. And pretty solid, especially with that Psycho Crusher. But yeah, Street Fighter 2 Turbo was definitely, in there. Definitely one of them games, and I did enjoy that. Now, the next game I decided to plug in and play was Starwing, and I remember plugging this in. I'd not seen any screenshots, I'd just heard about it. It was the FX ship, I can't speak now, and I remember plugging it in for the first time and thinking to myself, my god, this is an arcade quality game on my Super Nintendo. It was absolutely amazing. I thought this was brilliant. The 3D graphics, the speed of it, yeah, it looks a bit slow now, but the speed of it was brilliant. And I just could not believe it. The music, the sound, the way everything is done, I don't think anything could compete to this. And I did really enjoy playing Starwing, and to this day, I think it's spawned a great franchise, and there's a lot of games come out of it, decent games. But Starwing on the Super Nintendo was, I was absolutely gobsmacked when I saw this, and I still love putting it into date and playing that first level and listening to the music. Then the next one I decided to look at was ActRazer. Now, I'm going to tell you now, I was a fool. This didn't appeal to me. Yeah, I like the side-scrolling, jumpy platform beat-em-up, Rastan style kind of game, but I wasn't interested in the sort of build your own city kind of part, the simulation style. And to me, back then, it didn't appeal to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I know I was stupid because this is probably one of the best games ever on the Super Nintendo. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's anything out there like this, and it has become an absolute classic. But ActRazer, back then it was a no, but now, believe me, if you've not played this game, highly recommend it. A lot of people put it in their top 10 of Super Nintendo games. For me, it's a definite must. You've got to give this a try. Absolutely love this game and still love it today. Then the next game I chose was, well, Super Mario Kart. Once again, something that didn't appeal to me. I wasn't a racing fan. Yeah, I played it for a bit, had a blast on it, got used to it, had some fun with it as well. It's great with two-player. Back then, no, I didn't sort of really play this one much, but I had a few rounds on it and enjoyed it. Now, don't get me wrong, absolutely love this game. Very appealing to me, and I love all the Mario Karts. I've got all the Mario Karts, every one of them, and they're absolutely brilliant, and I love to have a thrash around, especially when you get to Rainbow Road. You've got to unlock all the characters and unlock all the levels and do Rainbow Road, especially when you go flying off the side, you get so frustrated. It created many wars between people, this did, but Super Mario Kart is definitely one if you've not tried it. Then the second to last game I tried that he lent me, well, it was Super Probotector Alien Rebels. Now this was, I played Contra in the arcade, Contra 2 or Probotector, it's known in the UK, but it was actually called Contra or Super Contra in the arcade, and I played both of them games, and I really did enjoy it, especially in two-player. But this game really did. It sold it well. It boasted great graphics, great sound. It used the scaling sprite chip in the Super Nintendo, and it shows. This is an absolute quality game, an absolute legend of a game. I say that a lot, but I do appreciate all my games. But Super RetroVentureUK, one-player, two-player. I highly recommend getting this one if you've not tried it, but I think everybody has. But still, this game is absolutely brilliant. Then the final game I chose to play out of the 7 games, yes, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, the story behind this one is I wasn't a fan of 1 or 2. I'd seen it in the magazines. I wasn't super fussed. And I remember seeing this one in the magazine, and it did appeal to me. I think it was about 60, 70 quid. I had no intentions of getting it. Now, if anybody that's watched my channel know who I am, you know, I actually adore the Zeldas. But back then, I remember, you know, kind of giving it a play and, oh, I like this style game actually. This is not bad. Open world kind of thing. You can go and explore. And I remember realising what you had to do. So I got to the first dungeon, used my monkey to get in the dungeon and destroy the boss. Now with this one, I got all the way to the second dungeon, and I remember there was that fake wall I couldn't get past. I didn't know how. I knew it was fake because my arrows, I think, went through it. It just didn't add up. And I could not work out what to do. Yes, I know what to do now, but I couldn't work out what to do back then to get through that fake wall in the second dungeon. And yeah, all you had to do was light up the 4 lanterns and it moved the wall, and then you could move on into the boss's area and kill the boss. Now, you know, this didn't appeal to me much back then. I did start to enjoy it, but if you know me now, I'm a huge Zelda fan, and I've got all the Zelda games and absolutely adore this one. This is probably one of the best Zeldas ever. And by the way, if anybody's watching Nintendo, if you're watching, which I doubt it, but a remake, please, of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Can we please have a remake? Do not ruin it though, okay? This game deserves one, but it's still classic, it's still quality, and one of my best games ever. I absolutely love it. Now, those are the games that I had on my first Super Nintendo. And yeah, I sold them, but like a fool, I did. I did get them all back eventually, obviously. But I do find that, you know, my first experience with the Super Nintendo was a great one. I did really enjoy it. It was a quality game, but for me, it was an arcade machine. I absolutely loved it. So there we have it, my first Super Nintendo, guys. I will say thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your experience with your first Super Nintendo. Is it any different or was it very similar? So guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.